leader in the Middle East needs peace now more than this man, Anwar al-Sadat of Egypt. Without peace, Sadat cannot solve his monumental economic problems. And if he cannot solve them, his days as Egypt's leader could be numbered. 60 Minutes takes a look at Sadat's troubled Egypt. Anwar al-Sadat came to power suddenly 7 years ago. He was Gamal Abdel Nasser's vice president, a non-entity in the shadow of the leader of the Arab world. And then when Nasser died, Sadat, like Harry Truman when he followed Franklin Roosevelt, Sadat felt the skies had fallen on him. He was unprepared, stunned. But he held on and learned and struggled. And when he unleashed the October War in 1973, he became a hero to his people. The Egyptians saw the October War as, at the least, a moral victory. Sadat had given them back their pride, had made Arab armies credible again. His officers, his people, acclaimed him. He made them forget Nasser. Sadat is a hero no longer because the Egyptian economy is a shambles. These food price riots in Cairo last January were aimed at the president. 80 were killed, 800 injured, more than 1,000 sent to prison. But Sadat still likes to insist his popularity remains intact.
I'm proud because I have the full support of the man of the street in Egypt here. I'm proud of this. Whenever I feel I don't have it, I shall not stay in my chair here at all. I'm not a politician. At all, I'm not a politician.
You know what they say about you? They say, you are a politician, but you're no economist. You're a first-rate foreign minister, but a bad chancellor of the exchequer.
Well, I'm not supposed to know about economics like the experts know.
People who are in business here in Cairo talk about failing telephones, not enough transportation, not enough housing, not enough electric power.
Yes, I have great difficulties in services, as you see, telephone systems, water system, communication, drainage. I have lots of problems. What I'm telling you is this. We are really suffering from a very acute economic problem. This is a fact.
At the root of it is overpopulation. Almost 40 million people now, an increase of 10 million in the last 10 years. And a quarter of them all live in Greater Cairo. Huge numbers of Fellaheen have left their villages to come here. In some parts of this run-down, desperately overcrowded capital, 100,000 persons per square mile. The chaos in these streets speaks vividly to the economic chaos in the country. 9 out of 10 Egyptians live at the poverty level. Almost half the male population are underemployed or have no regular jobs. They contribute almost nothing to the economy. The average Egyptian earns about $5 a week. A whole regiment of homeless eke out their existence in the streets. Some actually live among the tombstones in the city of the dead, squatting in the mausoleums of Cairo's wealthy families. No electricity, no sewage, no running water. The Cairene staple diet is bread. These loaves cost 1 US penny each. To keep the price that low, the government pays about 4/5 of the cost of the flour, much of which comes as food for peace in the US aid program. Many Egyptians get most of their calories from these loaves. They'll add some cooked broad beans, a few vegetables, some sweetened tea, also subsidized by the government. It was when that subsidy was about to be reduced, thus increasing food prices by 1/3, that those January riots erupted. There is money in Cairo, lots of it, but it belongs to very few. The hotels are jammed with them. Arab businessmen on vacation from the Persian Gulf, salesmen from West Germany, brokers from Beirut, tourists. Hotel terraces glitter with conspicuous consumption that the average Egyptian will not share in his lifetime. Egypt needs hard currency, foreign exchange, desperately. And tourism is a source of fast cash in this land of postcards and memories, pyramids and camels.
No. How do you focus?
Two together, come on.
Come on.
The hotel business is one that's booming. There are not enough rooms to go round, even for the Western businessmen, not to mention tourists. This is not the Nile, it's the Suez Canal, the pride and joy of Anwar Sadat. He's counting on $500 million from its revenues this year. It's being widened and deepened, with some of the same techniques that built the pyramids. The canal's reopening 2 years ago was symbolic of Sadat's yearning to open Egypt to Western investment. Under Nasser, the West had been locked out. Sadat introduced his innovative Law 43, Infitah it's called, Egypt's open door policy. He wanted to attract money from Europe, Japan, the United States. He offered foreign businessmen incentives, a tax holiday from 5 to 8 years, free trade zones, cheap labor, and a guarantee against confiscation or nationalization. But still, foreign investors are not coming to Cairo. They're discouraged by a baffling and frustrating bureaucracy, by confusing foreign exchange regulations, and by the shortage and sky-high cost of office space. An advisor to President Nasser, a critic of President Sadat, editor Hassan Hakel.
Infitah, the open door policy, what does it really mean?
To my mind, nonsense. When we don't have anything which is tempting for foreign investment. Foreign investment would go to one of the countries of the third world only for tempting offers. That means practically raw materials. They would go for oil, they would go for copper, but they are not going to come here in Egypt and put their money in the infrastructure. You don't have foreign investment coming to invest in the infrastructure which we need. It does not give enough interest and
enough profit.
Enough profit, I mean. And they are simply not going to come. But to open the doors and to say we are waiting for foreign investments, it's not going to come in useful things as far as we are concerned. It's going to come in banking, which is not exactly profiting to us. It's going to come the best, during 1974, we have got from the States 2 Infitah projects, which are working. One of them is the Wimpy chain. The second is the Kentucky chicken. With all my respect to American technology, this does not represent it.
Chiefly, at the moment, American technology is represented by U.S. oil companies, principally Exxon and Amoco, exploring, developing, and training oil field workers. Sadat claims Egypt will be producing 1 million barrels a day by 1980, sufficient for its own needs with none left over for export. But mostly American money shows up in Egypt in aid funds and commodities. Altogether, $1 billion worth in 1977. These AID grants include consumer goods, cereals, flour, powdered milk, to help shore up Sadat, to encourage his peaceful overtures in the Arab-Israeli confrontation. But what Sadat needs most is jobs for his people, and among those calling loudest for them are the university students. Egypt has more educated people than any other underdeveloped country in the world. Today, 400,000 students are enrolled in 10 universities. And by law, the government has to guarantee every college graduate a job. Adel Sadek studies economics.
Is there enough work for all these college graduates?
No, there isn't, because what happens is that you employ people whether you really need them or you don't, but they are employed for the sake of employment.
So what do they do?
Well, they push papers, they read newspapers, they chat a little bit, and then in the end they go home. take their salary, and that's it.
But that's not quite all of it, for there is building up in many Egyptians resentment at the quick money, the quick millionaires they see sprouting all around them. Importers, landlords, speculators, merchants. They are rising fast, this new upper class, separating themselves from the 90% who live in something close to misery. These newly rich breed resentment not just against themselves, but against the president too and his family, especially his wife Jehan. We asked Sadat about a list of new Cairo millionaires printed in a Beirut news magazine. Mrs. Sadat's name, and also the fathers-in-law of Sadat's two daughters, prominent on that list.
I'm sorry to tell you, you are misinformed 100%. What you are saying now is the propaganda of the Tripoli radio, and you don't know it.
It is only Muammar Gaddafi who is spreading these stories.
Yes, exactly.
And the reporters.
And the communists here in the country, the communists and Gaddafi. It is this what you have said now about my wife, about my
in-laws,
relatives or so.
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry because you are making the same propaganda that the communists and Gaddafi are starting with those, believe me.
We asked Sadat how he planned to stop the rich from becoming richer, and he told us of a new tax law.
In this law, I stated, every Egyptian should have a tax card in which he states whatever amount of money or possessions he have anywhere. And after that, I shall tell you this, my relatives will not be millionaires.
That same law included anti-strike and anti-demonstration clauses. One member of the parliament, a vice president under Nasser, Kamal el-Din Hussein, was outraged. He bitterly criticized Sadat in a public statement. Sadat had Hussein removed from the parliament.
Because I made this law, he sent me a message abusing me, and he should have gone to the court to be put in prison, because it deserves punishment.
But Hussein refuses to back down.
He is acting like a dictator.
Why, you mean it's a dictatorship?
Yes. Yes.
Simple as that?
Simple as that. There's corruption. Yes, and the government had said so, and the parliament too. And they have gained their profits from illegal activities, yes.
Is it possible to become a very rich man here in Egypt today?
Yes, it is possible if you cheat. And it is impossible if you don't cheat.
Do you expect there will be a popular explosion here?
They are boiling from inside. They are afraid to do anything now. But who knows? If this policy remains, there will be explosions.
It is to forestall an explosion from inside his country or from outside that Sadat labors so mightily these days for peace. He understands the impatience of his fellow Egyptians, their envy of the oil wealth of their Arab brothers. He knows his countrymen look to him to bring them better times. So he courts the Americans because he believes the Americans can pressure Israel to make peace. The peace he needs to give his country's economy a chance to flourish. The peace he may just need, in fact, to keep his job.